Suicide. Makes you uncomfortable, doesn't it? It's a touchy subject. What if we were to add in the word physician-assisted suicide? Do you know even what that means? Probably not, because physician-assisted suicide has been so stigmatized against that we don't even bother to listen. We hear the word suicide and we instantly look away or plug our ears. But the thing is with physician-assisted suicide is that it doesn't discriminate like other social issues. Other social issues will pick races, they'll pick classes, they will pick locations, but terminal illness does not discriminate. So today we're going to be talking about what physician-assisted suicide even is. We're going to talk about the emotional impact and more of my personal experience with it. And then we're going to talk about how the issue directly impacts you as a person. What is physician-assisted suicide? The first thing you probably think of is euthanasia. Euthanasia is not what we're talking about right now. Euthanasia is when a physician directly gives a medication to a patient that will kill them. Physician-assisted suicide is when a physician writes a prescription to a patient and the patient then self-administers the medication, which is the lethal drug. Oregon Health Authority states that the first state to put Death with Dignity Act into action was Oregon in 1997. Now, there are 5 states total that have legalized it, including California, Oregon, Washington, and Vermont, and Montana has it legal by court decision. And there are currently 20 other states that have it as a thought, but they need the American vote in this upcoming election. Now, there are very specific requirements to qualify for the Death with Dignity Act, and I'm going to use Oregon's list on their Oregon's public health website. So it states here, and it's a whole list. They have to reach each one of these requirements, otherwise they won't qualify. It says you have to be 18 years of age or older, a resident of Oregon, capable to make decisions for self, diagnosed with terminal illness that will lead to death within 6 months. The patient must make 2 oral requests to his or her physician separated by at least 15 days. So they can't say it and then say it immediately after. They have to have a 15-day gap. The patient must provide a written request to his or her physician signed in the presence of 2 witnesses. The prescribing physician and consulting physician must confirm the diagnosis and prognosis. So now we've involved another physician. Not only do we have 2 physicians, but the prescribing physician and consulting physician must determine whether the patient is capable. And if they feel that the patient's judgment is being impaired by psychiatric or psychological disorder, then the patient must be referred to a psychiatric doctor. The prescribing physician must inform the patient of feasible alternatives instead of the Death with Dignity Act, so things such as comfort care, hospice, and other kind of pain controls. And the prescribing physician must request but may not require the patient to notify his or her family member. Now we're going to talk about the emotional aspect of physician-assisted suicide and why I believe that it should be accessible to the public. When I started working in a nursing home a couple months ago, as a CNA, I saw terminal patients all the time coming into the nursing home, and a couple months later they were dying. They lost sense of their pride, their autonomy, and just quality of life. They had lots of family members coming in to visit in the beginning of their end-of-life process, but by the end of it, they were alone. They laid in bed all day, and the only interactions that they got were from the nurse, from passing medications, and from the CNAs coming in to change their diapers. It's very demeaning. How does physician-assisted suicide impact you? Well, first of all, it impacts you through the people that will become terminally ill around you. Like I said, terminal illness does not discriminate. So having the Death with Dignity Act would let your grandma, your grandpa, your sister, brother, your mom, dad, or even you not suffer for an extended period of time. The Huffington Post also states that on this ballot in this upcoming election for the state of Colorado, we will be given the option of whether or not we should vote yes to a Death with Dignity Act or no. Today we have talked about the specific requirements it takes to qualify for physician-assisted suicide through the Death with Dignity Act, the emotional impact of terminal illness, and how terminal illness and physician-assisted suicide directly affects you. So, my question is, what will your vote reflect in this upcoming election? I beg that even if you don't support physician-assisted suicide for yourself, let the actually sick take their life back under control and let them die with dignity.